first live stream of the day. We got a busy next 72 hours. We got fights starting in a few hours. We got uploads. We still have to upload. I got lives with some guests. I want to make an announcement right now in the first minute of this live that tomorrow, which is my Saturday at 11 a.m., your Friday in America on the East Coast at 9 p.m., I'll be going live with one more time with Chilltown, TJ. Chilltown and I will be giving, he sent me a message. I'm going to be leaving the channel open on this live stream for Chilltown to break down in depth his picks for the Canelo Bud card. That's tomorrow, okay? I'm going to send the link out. I'll put it in the Discord. I'll put a reminder on our YouTube channel. Just make sure you hit the bell notification button. You guys are going to want to definitely tune into that one. If you know anything about TJ or Chilltown, same guy, Chilltown Boxing on YouTube. The dude is a sharp bettor. He's a handicapper. He's a professional bettor. He gets inside info. He's usually spot on, man. Like, I got to be honest. If I didn't respect his opinion, put it this way. Whenever you see anybody on the channel, it's because I respect their opinion. And Chilltown's one of those guys in the boxing betting space that I put him, high at the top. So that's coming tomorrow. I'm uploading the Inoue. The Inoue MJ prediction is coming up right after this live. To answer your question, I am going live for the fights. So we got fights happening in a few hours. DJ Green, I'll be going live. I'm going to live stream the fights. It's been a few fight cards since I've been live for the fights, but I'll be doing it for this card. We have Emiliano Alvarado versus Garcia. We have Jamal Talley versus Holloway. Justin Valoria versus Ortiz. Jaleel Hackett versus Vines. And then Alasquaga versus Camacho Rivera. That fight card takes place in a few hours in Vegas at the Fontainebleau. I got some action on that. Go to the Discord now, guys. I gave you, if you're not learning how to navigate, if you're in the Discord and you don't know how to navigate the Discord, you have 4 or 5 different channels. You have boxing, MMA, you have parlays for your picks, you have NCAA football and NFL, and then you have Johnny's picks. So in the Johnny picks section, I gave you guys my long parlay. The long parlay is at 10 leg. I think it's 11-1. My locks, I think it's at maybe $1.76. I gave you my UFC picks as well, which is, I think, 3-1. And then right now on this live, we're going to go over method of victory. So you guys could ask me, how do I see fights ending? And then together we'll put a parlay together. Guys, also join the Discord. That link is pinned in the comments. You join here, become a Johnny Says Boxing Insider VIP. It's a couple bucks a month. You get more access on the channel. You get more access on the live stream. And then you become members in the Discord. So I'm going to start saying what's up. We got Jay in the house, DJ Green, what's cracking? GMS put on the elect. Do you think Hackett gets a stoppage? Now, guys, he's fighting Vines. Vines never lost, never got stopped. I just have Hackett. Like, the way I'm looking at this, I put so much money on the Canelo Crawford card. Just like last night we had fights, right? I hit Beck Nurmagomedov fought, and we did that bet during our live stream yesterday. And so to answer your question, I took Beck yesterday by stoppage. I think $1.48. You put 100 on him. If you would have listened, you get your money back plus 48 bucks. I then carry that win over to a 4-leg parlay. So I took Valoria, Hackett, and Alasquaga on another parlay. And then when that hits, I'll roll that over into tomorrow. Can Hackett get the stoppage? Let's see what that's paying. I don't even know if I'm getting options on that. Jaleel Hackett by stoppage. I mean, 290, 182. If you want Hackett by stoppage, do that on its own ticket. No, because the last thing you want to do is get too sexy with your picks. You do a 4-leg parlay and you're doing a 4-leg all method of victory, and then one of those legs fail because you put $10 to win 500. But in reality, Jaleel Hackett to win by stoppage, he could definitely stop him. He stops guys. Put 100 on him to win your money back plus 190, and just do that on its own. But if you want, if you do want to sprinkle something tiny, I definitely think it's worth it. Putting $10 on Hackett. Let's see. Watch this. If you take Hackett by stoppage at 290, if you take Alasquaga by stoppage at $1.48, I'm a big fan of Valoria. We're just kind of feeling this out. I like what I've seen from Valoria so far. And take Valoria by decision at $1.95. That's already 836. So yeah, you guys could do that. You know, you could play around. I wouldn't be, betting the rent on any of these fights. Vines is pretty tough. I just made a 15-leg parlay. Pray for you or pray for you. Because if you want to, we got to spell pray right. P-R-A-Y? P-R-E-Y, man. I'm trying to eat, boy. So yeah, guys, wherever you're tapping in, like this video, like Boxing Fan says, put a thumbs up, brush your shoulders off as you're walking in, clean your feet. Let's get into this. Valoria is an animal. He's only, Valoria's a kid too. Do your research if you haven't. Valoria comes from a fight family. Everything I've seen so far, in small little amounts, I've seen him fight a couple times. His activity, his energy, I think, what is he, 19 years old? Is he 19? Is he a teenager? When you hear boxing analysts and commentators talk about young energy, that's what they mean. When you get a pro, in their late 20s, they've settled into their career. They kind of have this sort of cavalier approach, their energy. But when you get like 19, 20, 21-year-olds, that's the whole piss and vinegar energy. Valoria fights like that. So yeah, I think it's worth a sprinkle. Now, when we say, somebody just said in the comment section, Vines is tough. So Vines is fighting Hackett. You just got to ask yourself, sometimes the toughest guys, it's their own toughness that gets them stopped. The fight that I always go back to in recent memory is we used Brian Norman Jr. versus Jin Sasaki. It's one of the reasons we went heavy on the under 6, parlayed with the stoppage, is because we knew that Sasaki was tough. You know what I mean? So it just depends on what sort of tough we're talking about. The bravery tough, to where he's going to fight you on the front foot and go out on a shield, or sort of like the Derevyanchenko tough, the guy that you just can't get out of there. You know what I mean? So, Derevyanchenko, I brought him up in our Discord earlier. I think he's one of the most underrated guys in his era. This guy, I don't think he's ever been stopped. I don't think Derevyanchenko, has he been dropped before? That dude's durable. So is he tough as in durable tough, or is he tough in terms of going out on a shield tough? You answer that, and then from there you make your decision. I think Jaleel Hackett on the money line, it's $1.15. I think he juices up some parlays. I definitely, with these odds and who, the matchmakers going into this weekend, I don't know, man. I don't really see an upset on this card. On the one today, I'm looking. I don't know. Now there are upsets I feel gonna happen this weekend. I just don't know if it's gonna happen on this card. Let me know what you guys think. Santana wins, I get paid. I got Raiko Santana as well. I got Santana beating Steven Nelson. Isn't that ex-champ Brian Valoria's nephew? Yeah, so there's it's his uncle. That's right, Mar. And a knockout prop form is at a +130. Tommy S. Hackett was doing an interview and said, I'm going for the knockout. He told Elijah he's not on his level. Hackett, Tommy, yes, I would take that bet, Tommy. I like, I'm probably going to sprinkle something Hackett by knockout. And it's always more, once again, boys, don't bet the house. These aren't locks. Whenever we're going method of victory, these aren't locks. Nothing's a lock. So you guys might ask me, what are my locks for this weekend? I'll tell you the fights that I'm comfortable with. The UFC is the Wild West, so I'm not even going to talk about that right now. But if you're in the Discord, look at my 3 UFC fights. I would tell you those are locks, but anything can happen. Boxing, there's so many examples of big dogs being, upsetting the odds. I don't see today that happening, man. I think today we're seeing a lot of sort of potential prospects, potential contenders being featured. Now, each guy is fighting guys with good records, and even if you go to BoxRec now, guys, and go to the event and look at the 5 fights that are featured, you even have the odds not correlating with the world rankings, which is kind of interesting. I wanted to ask you guys about that, because when you look at the Emiliano Alvarado fight versus Juan Garcia. However, BoxRec works their algorithm. Emiliano Alvarado is 8-0. He's ranked 210 in the world. Juan Garcia is 7-0. He's ranked 193. So generally, you would think with that algorithm, granted, you can't always go off of this because Vegas and the odds by this time, hours before the fight, that's just signifying how much money is coming in on certain fighters, right? So Alvarado is a $1.35 underdog or favorite. Alvarado's the favorite here. I think Alvarado could lose this fight. I think Juan Garcia at 375, if you want to go upset today, I could see Juan Garcia pulling the upset. So that's just an example. Now, do I have Alvarado on one of my parlays? I'd have to look. But, you know, the fight, like I like Valoria by stoppage, or I like Valoria by decision, Hackett by stoppage, and then I'm tempted to throw Princess on there by stoppage. I'm a fan of Alasquaga. Okay, a knockout props 130. PJ Vines is losing his record. Home size, is there a link? Yeah, home size. The link is pinned in this chat. So home slice, go to the top of the chat. You'll see join Johnny Says VIP. Click that link. It's a couple bucks a month. You get access to the Discord. Follow Mike TV. What's up, Johnny? Do anything about Jacob Bank? And did that fight go down? I thought didn't Jacob Bank versus Tyron Zage already fight? Or am I tripping? Oh, no. Bank versus Zouge. Bank versus Zouge is a UK fight. Now, what's your take on that? I haven't done tape on it, though, Mike. I looked at the highlight. I looked at I think I watched like a 5-minute video on Bank and then looked at the odds. Are you leaning towards Bank in that fight? Mar the Prince, considering Hackett Vines, since Hackett stepped up, his level of power doesn't seem to have the same effect. Plus, isn't the fight it's only an 8-rounder? Great question. Great points. Tonight's card is a feeder. Let's get this money. I agree, PJ. Johnny, have you changed any of your picks? History Vault. Be more specific. What picks? Adu, Johnny, you've seen the Canelo Butt undercard will be shown on Datum and the main event. What is... Oh, so I think probably spell check. Shown on DAZN and the main event on Netflix. So Alasquaga is not stopping Camacho. What's Tucker's knockout to win ratio? Thanks. DJ Green. Valoria might stop Ortiz. Yeah, I like Valoria. Like we talked about. I think I'm probably... After this live stream, I'll put it in the Discord. I got to sit with it a little bit without talking. But I'm leaning towards Valoria by stoppage. Zage has Zach Parker in trouble. Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so let me check that out. So people are saying that Banks should be on upset alert. Adu, odds are Johnny will do a 180 on Canelo and tip. Nah, man, I've already put my bet in, Adu. I've already put my bet in. I've already done my money line bet on Canelo. I'm comfortable with Canelo beating Bud, man. I got to be honest. I don't think Bud's going to be able to do it. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it, guys. He looks old. Crawford doesn't look like... I think we're going to see a couple... Look, it's just confronting getting old. This is what I'm seeing with him doing his shakedown. If you watched, him hitting the pads, if you watch him give interviews, he looks like he's gotten old to me. And I expect to see that in his feet. I don't expect Bud to have faster hands than Canelo. I expect Bud to be a little more flat-footed. Just everything that the sort of diminished skills that we saw in terms of like, Bud went from, we get old, guys. Bud at 35, Bud at 40 is this well-polished machine. You know what I mean? He's younger there at 40. He's faster. Everything about Bud at 40 is insane. At 47, he's a bit more of a marauder. He's a bit more aggressive. He's a bit more bullyish, right? So with that, he's a little bit slower. He's fighting a little bit differently. At 54, against Madrimov, we only saw one fight. We did get to see the whole fight. But at 54, he's getting hit a little bit more. He's not slipping punches as well as he used to. His head movement isn't as sharp as it used to. His timing, it took him a while. At 60, he cut corners. So he cut corners for me. You know what I mean? He cut too many corners. You can't just jump from 47 to 68. And I think at 68, he's going to be even a little bit... I think he's going to be slower. He's going to be even more flat-footed. His head's not going to move. I think Canelo's going to have the hand speed. And yeah, I'm actually, of all the fights this weekend, I'm comfortable. The one I'm not stressing about is Canelo beating Bud, which sounds insane. I think Banks is going to lose. Walsh is going to watch. Yeah, Callum's going to wash Fernando. I agree. Have you heard MMA prospect Staines from England? I don't know, man. Did George Staines fight in Cage Warriors? The name kind of rings a bell. Julius Crawford hairline is receding and indicate. Well, Crawford just looks older, man. Like we get old, boys. Tonight's card is a feeder. Where's the food? The food is on the favorites, Dennis. The food is on the favorites. LG, do you think Donovan gets Crocker out? I think I have him on a. That's the way the fight was trending in the first fight, mate. Let me check those odds. There's so many guys. There's so many fights. We gotta focus. We have to focus. Does Donovan get Crocker out? I think so. I do. I'm hearing there's truth to Bud's injury, irritated shoulder. Home slice, we talked about this a couple days ago on the live stream with Bud's so-called injury. And the only thing I can say about that is I don't know any fighters who go into fights 100%. Mar, not betting the fight, but historically guys don't get close decisions against Canelo in Vegas. May and Bivol nearly had to go 12-0. Heard that. You said you're hoping Crawford is slow. Canelo has way more miles than Crawford. Yeah, but Bud's inactivity bothers me. You know, I mean, come on, guys. His inactivity, the thing with Canelo, you know, he has more miles, but he's younger, and he's way more active. Crawford hasn't, you know, since. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. You know what I mean? These are the hard facts that I can't get by. Like, I can't get past Crawford's inactivity. I can't get past Crawford's age. I can't get past Crawford skipping 160 for me to bet on him. You know, this will be the first time I've ever bet against him. I'm cheering for Bud. This, like, I'm not betting 10 grand on Canelo, but I put a little nice amount on Canelo. But, you know, it's for what I'm seeing as a fan of the sport. I can't just sit there and tell you to bet all of your money on Crawford because I'm a fan of him. I am a fan of Crawford, but I'm not betting on him. I'm betting against him because I don't see him beating Canelo. I don't see a path to victory. I think that he's not going to have the power advantage. He's not going to have the speed advantage. He's never what does Bud bring to Canelo that Canelo's never seen? It's a question I've been asking you guys all week. No one's answering it. Canelo's fought guys at 74. Canelo's fought, you know, when he was younger, Floyd. He's fought big fucking punchers. You know, he's never been dropped, never been stopped, gone up to 74, fought Bivol. Like, what is Bud going to show Canelo that he's never seen? Cage Wars. Yeah, I did see him fight. Manny. Yo, Don Robo Crip, holla. Keezy. Crocker got the DQ, went on purpose. Perfect game plan. You're going to pull it off again. Home Slice, welcome to the team. So Home Slice, now go to my channel, the interface, and go to memberships. So all the JSB insiders have more access on my YouTube interface. And then in the membership post, you'll see the link for the Discord. And then in the Discord, what's that Aladdin song? A whole new world. A dazzling place I never knew. That song will be playing. Not really. It's going to be an old school boxing match, toe-to-toe, that ends in a draw. How dare you? Who you like most for tonight between Hackett or Valoria? Woo! I like Valoria, guys. I think Valoria is good. I think Valoria is a great prospect. I'm high on Valoria. Every time I've seen him, he's still young. So, you know, we'll see. He has to... We don't get to see 19-year-olds be featured all the time. When we do, you got to pay attention. I like him. I think he has what it takes. He comes from a good pedigree. I like his energy. I like his mind. I like his preparation. I always talk about, I love young fighters who have that attachment to an anchor, whether it's their camp, their father, they're fighting for something more. He seems like that type of young guy. He seems wise beyond his years. What's the best bets tonight? Yeah, Bud fucking Adu. All these weekends of boxing and activity we've had, and now we have 2 undisputed. I know, dude. There's so many fights out here. People aren't even talking about Inoue. Inoue and MJ. Come on, dude. That's undisputed. You make some good points. DJ Green. Look, guys, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. Look, and the boys know that. You guys know that. I'm not here to tell you I know something more than you. I'm here to just tell you what I see. That's all I'm saying. I'm here to just tell you what I see. Mar, with the way the first fight went along with Crocker's positive test, that cocaine pet, he got that coat. Rush to the yayo. Killer. Bust, give me yayo. I put a little on Crawford just in case so did I. Of course. I have a little secret parlay on the down low with Crawford too. You got to hedge your bets, but I'm telling you, I'm putting all my money on Canelo. But I got a sneaky little, side little bet with Crawford, of course. Tommy S., the only reason I don't think Banks is going to lose is because he's at home. Now, this is why I rely on you guys for a lot. Mike TV, if you're still here. And guys, follow Mike TV. Follow him. He's a boxer. He's 30. He's a UK fighter. And he's the one who asked this question. So, Mike, this is Tommy's perspective, and I think there's validity here. The only reason I don't think Banks is going to lose is because he's at home, and if it's close, okay, so you're not, Tommy, you don't see any, is there a skill gap? Pedro Cabrales, I got Alasquaga winning. Pedro, the reason why I got Alasquaga winning is one of my mates that, I grew up with in Youngstown, Ohio, he's close with that camp. And I told this story yesterday on my live stream. The way I talk, and if you guys follow my Instagram, the way I talk about Junto Nakatani, I feel Nakatani's a future Hall of Famer if he isn't already. I think Nakatani could win world titles, at 22. I think he, with his size and his, where he's at right now, I think we could see Nakatani winning world titles at 26. My buddy talks about Alasquaga the same way in terms of like his, what he brings to the table, the smaller divisions, being able to carry power. He's huge on Princess. We can't even watch the Inoue fight. Yeah, you can't watch it in America? Damn. DJ, I seen Alvarado fight and he stood still 90%. Okay, for no reason. So is Alvarado... So are we all saying that Alvarado is going to lose? So are we saying that Alvarado is on upset alert like I brought up? Let me know. Boxing fan, home size, welcome. Yep. Guys, like the video. 51 people, 9 likes. The boys be getting lazy. Hit that thumbs up. One of the hardest punches when you guys are, if you're ever taking a boxing class or learning how to fight, one of the most awkward punches is landing those hooks. So I remember when I was a kid, my coach was like, dude, it's like you're holding a coffee mug. I'm like, bro, I'm 7. I don't drink coffee. But like if you put your hand in a coffee mug like this, here, he's like, that's how your hooks should land. Here. Daniel Vega, where we'll be able to watch the Inoue fight. So Aussies, if you guys are in Australia, they're playing the Inoue fight on KO Sports. So Vega, you're in the Discord. Do you know how to share? This is going to sound insane. I'm super, you guys know I'm not the most technologically literate. I know that we could share screens in the Discord because 3 weeks ago during the UFC pay-per-view, one of the boys in there was sharing it and we got to watch it. Now, if that's the case, if you guys know how to do that, I have KO. I have a subscription. So somebody email me and show me how to play the Inoue fight for the boys in the Discord because I already have a subscription. I'll just put it in the Discord. I don't know how to do it. You think Yoshiki Takai beats Jimenez? That's a good fight, Manny. That's a good fight. I mean, it's one of those fights that I was talking to TJ about. We were trying to find upset alert fights, right? In terms of what the odds makers have done. All I can say about Takai is I think Medina is not a 5-1 underdog. Based on, like, if you've ever seen him fight, Takai, I think this should be maybe, it's not a 50-50 fight. It is in Japan. We like the scoring in Japan. You guys have sold me on the fact that Japan has the fairest judges, all things considered, at least in the last 5 years, of not seeing too many robberies. I think I can name offhand maybe 1 or 2 robberies where the judges were kind of suspicious. But people do like the way the Japanese judges have been trending in terms of foreign fighters coming to Japan and winning close decisions, rightfully so. Looking at Medina at a 5-1 dog on my book, that just seems too wide for me. We have a lot of fights before then. If I'm really going to jump on the dog, I'll let you guys know. Clifton, what did I miss, bro? What's Clifton asking? Clifton's throwing up the question marks. Yeah, Mike TV, Nakatani will win titles at 130 plus. So you think Junto could go up to 130? So that means, so he's, 118, 122, 126. So we're potentially looking at a 5-6 division world champion with Nakatani. See, I never looked at him past 26, but I'm not going to doubt him. Alvarado is on big upset alert. All right, boys. Come on, Vic, man. We like those compliments, but what are your thoughts on Alasquaga? Man, he's so fun. I'm a fan of Alasquaga, Manny. I don't know if there's ever an easy night at the office, guys. But Manny R, I'm a fan of Alasquaga. I like everything I see with him. You talk to the boxing heads who've, you go on YouTube, you can see footage of people talking about his sparring, how he trains, how he goes about his work. He's a fun guy that, Americans don't really give too much love to the smaller fighters, but Alasquaga is one of those guys. Anyway, should be on ESPN Plus in the USA. I agree. Banks got the hardest fight tonight. He's fighting 29-2 with 16 knockouts. Tommy S, definitely a skill gap. Okay, so Mike TV. So Tommy S is saying that there's a skill gap between Banks. And so Tommy's saying not just the skill gap, but then you mix that with Banks having a homer. So we should feel comfortable with Banks winning that fight. You've been Axel's bud, UD prediction. You've seen Axel's. No. What did Axel say? Well, guys, a lot of the boys are picking Bud. Tommy Raynone. So Tommy from Paulie and Tommy was on my live stream 2 weeks ago. Tommy Razor Raynone, professional boxer. We jumped on a phone call yesterday. He's taking Bud. At least that's what he told me. I don't know if he's switched. A lot of the boys are taking Bud. I just don't see it. Vault, anyways, fight doesn't have any TV deal. True School even said no. If Nishida beats Medina, Takai will win. If boxing maths work, doesn't always work. Nakatani's only 27. He could get up to 26. Yeah, Pedro, it just depends on how fast he wants to do it. He's only 27, but I mean, in those smaller weight classes, 27. I guess the world of boxing has changed a bit. There wasn't a time not too long ago where 27, even though it is super young, was kind of looked at as an age, as a now or never age, especially in the lighter weight classes. But yeah, I agree. He's still young. Of course, he's still young. He's fun, man. He's such a fun fighter to watch. I love how he could fight you at different ranges. He could, long punching down. It's going to be interesting though as he moves up when he starts losing that reach and height advantage. Sup, fella? Is Rando in the house? Kiza B, I'm a big fan of Takai. I think Medina is going to give him real problem. Okay, so Kiza, do you got a parlay cooking up? Kiza, if you have a parlay, boys. Guys, I'm not the only one who shares my tickets in the Discord. Kiza, let me see your ticket. I want to sit with it a bit. Put in the Discord with Medina on it. Hell yeah. Chocolatito is fighting. People forget about Chocolatito. Chocolatito is a huge favorite. Does the Alvarado fight go the distance? What's up, Damu Brat? Appreciate you. Damu Brat recently joined the Discord a couple weeks ago. He's asking, does the Alvarado fight go the distance? Right now, mate, what I'm hearing on the Alvarado fight, I mean, the play might be taking the dog on that fight, depending on how heavy you're doing. If you're just sprinkling a little bit of money, let me run something by you real quick. So, both guys are 8-0. You know what I mean? Both guys are young. One's 8-0, one's 7-0. It's only how many rounds is this fight? It's a 6-rounder, boys. It's a 6-rounder. Maybe you guys have seen something that I haven't seen, but it's only a 6-rounder. Does the Alvarado fight go the distance, damn it? To answer your question, I mean, I really don't like getting too sexy on 6-round fights, 8-round fights in terms of picking stoppage, unless you're watching like, you know, there's certain exceptions to every rule. I'm not convinced it ends early. Do you think Juan Garcia? That's what some people are saying, Manny. Bum Equipment, what's up, buddy? We appreciate you. Bum Equipment saying Bud knocking him out in the 3rd. Wild stuff. Take it. Good luck. Canelo said he's going to fighting in the counterpunchy style that he fought when he was younger. Danny Jacobs version. That was a good fight. I'm a big fan of Danny Jacobs, man. I've known Danny for over a decade. Here's a little fun fact about the Miracle Man, Danny Jacobs. Do you know who his nutritionist was his whole career? Who was Danny Jacobs' nutritionist his whole career? Sounds like, yeah, they're... I told you guys I live in a tree house, so I got trees all around me, and I live on the edge of a national park. So there's birds, and once a week they do their landscaping. Juan Garcia is not winning. Kiza, I got Canelo and Medina. Double. I posted. All right. Kiza. Nice. All right. I love when the boys are going, little dogs will be barking. Let's go. Yeah, because I've been, you know, all week, people have been messaging me about, well, they were asking me about the Takai Medina, which I don't want to call it an obscure fight because it's not obscure. Takai's that's a great fight. All I'm going to say about that is I just think Medina shouldn't be a 5-1 dog. I think he's a live dog. Yeah, Algieri. Yeah, Algieri. So that's how I know Danny, because I've known Chris for about the same time. Before the Provatnikov fight. Man, good upcoming fights. Can't wait. The underdog is not winning that fight. 7-0. Yeah, PJ, but I don't know. Are you excited to watch Jamar Talley? Yeah. I got Talley in the house. I got Talley on my card. He's a big favorite. Great question, though. 25-year-old heavyweight. He's a big favorite. Dono Robo Crip. I'll get back to that question in a second. All right, I'm getting to it right now. Dono Robo Crip. What's up, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it, man. All the super chats. Hopefully all the picks come in, because that's when you guys really hook me up, when we're right. So Mabili or Lester, guys, I uploaded my breakdown and prediction. And Don Robo Crip, if you're new to the channel, what you could do is go to my playlist section, because right now you're watching my live stream, obviously. On my playlist section, you'll find fight predictions. I do these videos called Stats Don't Lie, and they're produced, edited, professionally shot with, you know, professional equipment, and I've picked Mabili. And I tell you why. So I'll be as brief as I can, because a lot of the boys already know my picks. I have Christian Mabili beating Lester Martinez. In the video, I break down why. We talk a little bit about common opponents. Both guys have they fought a guy named Gongora. Both guys won a decision against Gongora. Mabili got stunned in the 2nd and the 8th against Gongora, and he survived. I also talk about a very important fight that YouTube and BoxRec kind of scrubbed, but you can find it on UFC Fight Pass. It's behind a paywall. It's Lester Martinez versus Raiko Santana. And Raiko Santana dropped Lester, I think, in the second to the last round. It was late in the fight. I had Raiko Santana beating Lester Martinez. Raiko Santana is the same guy who's fighting Steven So-Called Nelson on this card. I have Raiko beating Nelson as well. I just think that Lester, I think Lester is I think he's gonna. I think Mabili has a speed advantage. I think both guys have holes in their game. Both guys are front forward guys. From what I've seen is I like the fact that I've seen Mabili hurt and survive. I like the fact that Mabili works the body. I like that he uses his height to his advantage. He's listed 5'11". Lester's listed he's listed at 5'8". Lester's listed at 5'11". I think I don't trust Lester's durability to the body throughout the fight. I think it's only a 10-rounder, or is this one a 12-round? Yeah, it's only a 10-rounder, which is kind of odd. It's for that WBC interim strap. And I'm a fan of Lester. I like his career. I think it's a step up for Lester. I like Mabili's trajectory he's on. I like the energy he brings to the table. I also really like Mobili's pace. It's something about the pressure Mobili is able, even when he's hurt, guys. If you've picked Lester, you're going to probably use this point against me. The fact that you've seen Mobili hurt before, and you're going to say Lester is a harder puncher than Santana, or Lester's a harder puncher than Gongora, and that means that Lester's going to be able to stop him. I'm going to say I like a fighter who gets hurt and then knows how to fight back from being hurt. This is the old hammer and a nail analogy. I love the fact that I've seen Abdullah Mason get dropped before and then within the same fight get back up and win by stoppage. I look at that as a feather in his cap. I don't look at Abdullah being chinny because he got dropped and then stopped his guy. I'm like, that dude is durable. That dude is a dog. That dude knows how to be the nail. You know, not all hammers could be nails. Same thing with Inoue. When Inoue got dropped against Neri and Inoue got dropped against Cardenas, people are, oh, Inoue's chinny. I'm like, no, he isn't. What are you talking about? Inoue's a goddamn savage. He's a dog, dude. That dude is the opposite of chinny. Inoue's a guy who could get dropped in a firefight and get back up and drop his opponent. So I look at Mobili as that way, and I don't think that I'm expecting Mobili's pressure, pace, and just his stressful-ass style to wear Lester down mid to late rounds, and that's where I'm putting my money is Mobili. I got him on the money line. Now, will I get sexy with a method of victory and maybe last second post like a two-leg of how maybe Canelo by decision and Mobili, I think Mobili by decision. I don't know. We'll see. I'll get into that in a little bit. Ravenhawk, what's up? Ravenhawk, we have a new Johnny Says Boxing Insider. Ravenhawk, as you become an insider, you get more access on the channel, so take advantage of it. Already, one of the benefits, go to my interface. Go to the members only section on the interface. In the members section, you'll find the link to the Discord. Enter the Discord, do a little dance, shoulder roll, and then say hello. That fight is YouTube Santana Martinez. Yeah, but no, the whole fight's not on YouTube. I think they only put like 15 minutes on YouTube. And it's like cut up. Yo, high interest, yo brother, checking in, can't miss a weekend. We got a big one. Guys, I'll be going live in 2 hours for the fight. So I'm going live here shortly for the fights today in Vegas. Lester's been sparring with Crawford. Yeah, Lester's a good, but, Lester comes from B&B. A lot of people have Lester. High interest with the super chat, my guy. I appreciate you, brother. The super chats go a long way. Mate, thank you so much, man. Hopefully you enjoy the fights. Tyler Randolph in the house. Boxing fan, welcome to the team. Yeah, guys, so we have these fights starting. And don't get it twisted, boys. The more you hang out on the channel, if you're new, just because I'm picking against a fighter doesn't mean I don't like the fighter. I've told you for months I like Lester Martinez. I told you for months that I love the work that he's done with B&B. From Guatemala. I don't know, has there ever been a Guatemalan world champion? Now, I don't know. That's amazing. Just having a whole nation behind you, it lifts the guy up. It lifts a guy up. It definitely lifts a guy up. It has nothing to do with me not liking Lester. Is why I'm looking at it from the stylistic, from what I've seen in their careers. You know what I mean? That's. I also like Mobili. Mobili has this, it's not technical how he throws his punches. Even in the pocket, he's not. He kind of projects himself as being a real tight sort of slugger in the pocket, but even when he punches, he does have a tendency to kind of have holes, and so does Lester. But I do like Mobili, his uppercut selection. I've talked about this before. It's a bit obscure. It's an obscure point, but when you look how he knocked out Selecki, the one he threw was here and that one. But we've also seen him hurt guys here, that one. The reason why I reference that is because not everybody could change angles on punches, especially power punches. You don't see that all the time. He doesn't do it. He does it a lot with his lead uppercut. So it's obscure. And if it comes to fruition, it's going to be one of those things where people are going to be like, dude, you called it. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm not Nostradamus. And if it goes the other way, I'll tip my hat to Lester and be like, hey, man, he proved me wrong. But at this stage of their careers, I think that Lester's step up is bigger than Mobili's. And, I can't bet against Mobili at this moment in their careers. I still have Lester pulling off. Put me in the boxing. Latina Lucia Caminos Lopez. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Put your money on the distance. Don't lose your money being in your Billy. Yeah, BJ. DJ Green. Lester looks more technically sound. Billy throws all of his punches wide. Yeah. So, so Lester, though, guys, let's talk about holes in Lester's game. Anyone talking about Lester's chin? How, you know, where he's at, how he throws his punches, when his head movement or lack thereof, his feet. There's a lot. Neither guy is a well polished technical sort of savant. You know what I'm saying? Both guys rely on their power. Both guys, I think, have 82 and 84% knockout to win ratios. So both guys rely on their power. And if anything, when we're doing our deductive reasoning regarding where we're going to put our money, we then have to ask, and you're right, you bring up his flaws. We then have to ask which flawed fighter outweighs the other flaws. Because I would disregard their power. And this is why I'm picking, and I told you, I didn't tell you I'm picking Mabili because I like his power. I told you I'm picking Mabili because I've seen him hurt before and I've seen him recover. So that's how I look when I'm kind of like picking. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think the odds are pretty. I think it could go either way. I'm more comfortable with Canelo beating Bud than I am Mabili beating Lester. I'm banking on Mabili's tank. There you go. He's an animal. Right, David? Right? And look, David's a guy, you know, he's in the Discord, and it's another great example. And when I see examples like this, I have to highlight them. Is on the channel here, guys, and in the chat, we don't have to agree. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. David and I don't agree on everything, and this one we do agree on. And so it's that pressure. And David, it's a gas tank, but it's also like this sort of this stressful state that he puts his opponents in. He's a type, and nobody's brought it up. Serhii Bohachuk versus Brandon Adams, right? The odds are insane in that fight. I gave you my prediction in the fight. You can watch my breakdown, Bohachuk versus Adams. 2 weeks ago, I was taking Adams. And, you know, coming up to fight night, my money's on Bohachuk. And one of the reasons is, I mean, Brandon stopped him in the first fight, 2021. He was losing on the cards, though. You could find reasons why the stoppage was kind of like, you know, he kind of found one punch sort of thing. Brandon's only been stopped once in 2015 against Apollo Thompson. Brandon's also 35. He got shelved from 2021 to 2024. But then in 2024, he's fought, I think, 3 times. And he's had 3 good outings. I thought he beat Katsarakis. The thing with Brandon is 5'8", Serhii 6 feet tall. This fight's at a catchweight, another catchweight, which doesn't make me too happy for Bohachuk. His camp asked, I think, for 2 pounds, so I think it's at 156. We know he missed weight against Fox. Wasn't his best performance. But to get to my point on why I love Mabili and his gas tank and that pressure of how he stresses his opponents out, Bohachuk, a 6-foot pressure forward volume puncher, fighting Adams in a rematch who's 5'8", a guy who traditionally likes to hang out on the ropes a bit long, likes to kind of play around with his back on the ropes. Bohachuk with that high guard, here. You know what I mean? Doesn't move his head a lot, but that volume, his high guard, the 4-5 inch height advantage, that's stressful to deal with. I know Brandon has seen it before. He wasn't doing well with it, though. It's not like he was doing well with the style in the first fight. And Bohachuk, on all accounts, has gotten better since the first fight. And, you know, Bohachuk is the guy who dropped Virgil multiple times when they fought. I think when I was picking Adams, I had forgotten, you know, the style of Bohachuk. And you can't just watch the Fox fight. The Fox fight, it called psychological, called a letdown. I mean, he was supposed to fight Madrimov. He went from a fight of the year contender fight with Verge to then getting Madrimov and then that fight getting called off, and then fighting a guy at 47 coming up in Fox who's awkward. It's not the same psychologically. This is a get-back fight. This is a rematch. I expect us to see the version of Boacek that we saw against Virgil. And if the version of Boacek that we saw against Virgil shows up 2 nights from now, I think he'll have no problem with Adams. But Billy has a good jab, though. Check out the first few rounds. Derevyanchenko. Why do people sleep on Derevyanchenko, mate? And, you know, it was kind of like I had always thought that, but it was up until the couple months since the Discord and hearing, you know, being in this little community with boxing heads where I was kind of like, yeah, dude, Derevyanchenko is underrated. He doesn't have a sparkly record, but that guy's a nightmare. He's a nightmare to deal with. I think the Franklin one is risky. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you really want to bet on Franklin versus Ditchko, go ahead, be my guest. Boacek also said he learned from that too, so I could see a late stoppage. Tyler Randolph, yeah. Tommy S, okay, I'm going to check it out, David. David says, I also like Adams. Serhi's chin is suspect. Ishmael hurt him. Michael dropped him. He can't crack an egg. And even before Adams stomped him, he wobbled a few times. So when we talk about, let's dissect what David says here. He says Serhi's chin is suspect. Ishmael hurt him. Okay, he hurt him. Who won the fight? Michael dropped him. Okay, who won the fight? And then I broke down the droppage. So I put that up on my channel. Go to my last short. Oh, he dropped him, but come on, mate. Serhi, 10 seconds left in the fight. He literally jumps off of the canvas with a leaping jab. And while his feet is in the air, Michael just kind of pops a backhand here and kind of grazes him, and then Serhi falls. So it wasn't ruled a knockdown, but David's right. He did get knocked down, but come on. It's not like it wasn't anything to kind of use against him as being chinny. You know what I'm saying? He can't crack an egg. Don't tell Virgil that. He got a jab that hurt him. Olasquaga hat. Let's go. Farley. Now we're eating. Olasquaga knockout, Hackett moneyline, Valoria moneyline. I like Valoria. All right. When do these fights start? These fights start soon, boys. 11 o'clock. So these fights start in 2 hours, guys. I got to upload anyway. I got to eat something because it's my Friday morning. I haven't eaten anything yet. I've already trained. I already did some deadlifting. I'm going to stay on for about 5 more minutes because I'm going to go live for these fights. Hit a 75,000. What? Gene Pablo out here eating. He said he hit a 7,500 to 1. This guy's a savage. Tyler Randolph, how do I feel about Pitbull Roach? Tyler, great question. Pitbull Roach, it's official. Roach really, Roach impressed me, mate. Impressed me with his catch and shooting. Impressed me with his, you know, ability to control the center against Tank. Because we had never seen that before. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Pitbull, that pressure style, I think that Roach will probably be sort of like a sniper against Pitbull. I like Roach against Pitbull. Max Kellerman is a great pundit. Nostalgia, Max is back. Latino Lucia Caminos Lopez. Welcome. Ty, Don Robo, thanks for the super chat, my man. Those Soviets are killing the UFC and are taking the sport over. Do you think boxing has the advantage now that we can get fights made with Turkey? So by Soviets, I think you're referring to the Dagestanis. So, you know, the influx since Khabib Nurmagomedov and his father, his whole camp. Obviously, Islam Makhachev. Yeah, so I've been watching every MMA UFC fight since the first. So I break down UFC fights here too, but I don't do the edited videos. So to answer your question though, do I think it's not about boxing versus MMA. Do I think that Turkey, you know, just pouring millions into the sport of boxing, both from a marketing side, promotional side, and actually getting the fights that we want to see is good? Yes. It's been great for boxing. Do I trust his intentions? Hell no. I don't know. I still, at this time, don't know what Turkey's intentions are. You know what I'm saying? Like it could just be as simple as like back in the Romans where the the politicians and the upper class just wanted to see the slaves kill each other in a fight. It could just be that with Turkey. He could literally just have bloodlust and love combat sports. Or it could be something a little bit more tyrannical. Like I always say, like sports washing. The video got taken down, but I talked about this a couple months ago. Maybe it's almost been a year now. I compared Turkey al-Sheikh and to what he's doing, what the Saudis are doing with sports, not just boxing, F1, tennis, golf, to what the Germans were doing in World War II and during the Olympics in 1936 in Munich. Google what sports washing is. And so when you look at the history of the Saudi government, when you look at what happened with Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post journalist who was, had his life taken at the consulate in, I think, in Turkey by the Saudis, al-Sheikh was in that room. That's insane. Nobody wants to talk about that. So sports washing is basically a usage of a government to disguise the goings on, tyrannically within their nation's operation, using sports as a distraction. Something to look at. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just love history. We've seen this before. When the Americans allegedly went into Munich in 36, you could see all of the insignia, the propaganda had been taken down. And allegedly, I don't know how historical you guys are, to think that, the country that was America in 36 didn't know that was happening in Germany is kind of hard to believe. But, they ended up getting the Olympics there, and that's the famous Jesse Owens gold medal. Ohio State, holla at your boy, go Buckeyes. David, I thought Michael won. He wasn't landing big on him, but he was slipping shots and landing a high percentage. Damn, that guy's a savage. Johnny and Jason. David, Fernando Vargas, do you give him a chance? I give him a puncher's chance, David. I give him a puncher's chance. But Callum Walsh, he's the more seasoned fighter. He's more well-rounded. He's more technical. He's the A side, which is going to be important. Fernando does come from a boxing royalty family. He's definitely going to believe he's going to win. I look at Fernando as a guy who got into boxing late, who kind of is trying to earn his... And this isn't the facts. I mean, his dad's a legend. They're like two peas in a pod. But psychologically, the reasoning for him fighting and picking boxing up late is to kind of like prove to his dad that he could do it. And that's sort of like the age-old father-son sort of thing. We want to be better than our fathers sort of thing. You know what I mean? But that being said, Callum Walsh is a better boxer, more skilled, more technical. There's a lot of money and hype and promotional money backing Callum. Imagine Turkey invites you for an interview and you go, mate, look into it. Look into it. DJ Green, hell no, Vargas Jr. might get smoked, right? Tyler, for real, I low-key hate the venues in Saudi. I just like the fights arena. Yeah, because there's no crowd energy, mate. Tyler, think about the fights that were in Times Square with no crowd. The card with Devin and Ramirez and Raleigh and Ryan. Think about the energy of the fights. I attest that to there being no crowd. We're humans. We feed off of our environment. There's literally psychological studies done on the effects of our environment and our actions, both long-term on a longevity scale, nature versus nurture sort of thing, and then both in the moment, how we react to large crowds, whether it's good or bad. And so those Saudi crowds, I've never been to one, but am I wrong? Like no alcohol. I mean, something to think about. Now, wait till you see the crowd in Vegas. The Vegas crowd a little bit different. And think about during the pandemic, those crowds when there weren't allowed to be crowds. Let's go, PJ. Jazz, what Vargas has done with his son. Yes, that's what I mean. I love the connection between the boys and Pops. Fernando Vargas, he was fighting for world titles, at 20? 21? He crossed over, too, into the mainstream. Wasn't it Fernando that was in... Fernando was in the movie with Timberlake. People sleep on that movie. Alpha Dog. Alpha Dog with rest in peace with that really good young actor who passed away tragically because he was at his home in California in his car that was in neutral. I think it was a Jeep Wrangler. He parked it in neutral at his house, opening the gate, and it crushed him. And Anton Yenitz, but it was, I'm pretty sure Fernando was in that movie. Vargas had popped through to the mainstream. He's like pop culture. Where can I watch the card? Adu on top this week, Aussie card midweek. Yeah, we got Brock Jarvis is fighting again, Adu. Brock Jarvis is back. The big fella. My brother's name and my dad granddad's too, Fernando. Great name. So many fights, man. Yeah, we have to stay focused, boys. We can't get big-eyed. Sometimes we win our most money when there's not a lot of fights. So remember, guys, I'm going to leave you on this. Sometimes the best bet are the ones we don't make. Remember that. What is your pick, David? Guys, Ishmael Davis versus Agarco. There's so many big fights this weekend, Andresa, that, you know, on paper, Ishmael Davis should win that fight. Am I betting on Davis versus Agarco? I'm not betting on that fight. Rambler, do you think The Rock was on the... What are you talking about? Rambler, is that a serious question? Do I think The Rock was on... What are you talking about? The Rock has been juicing for 30 years. He's a known drug addict. No offense. Steroid boys, don't get pissed at me. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, lifelong natural athlete. You could tell when athletes, they're wrestlers. You could tell the body. Look at Rock. So when he used to go by the name Rocky Maivia. When The Rock broke through the WWF, he went by the name Rocky Maivia. He played college football at University of Miami. His pops was in a wrestler. You know, you're softer. He's still bigger, great genetics. It's the steroids, those cutting agents, things like Phenoplex, things like Equipoise, things like, you know, what's another popular cutter? Trin, Clenbuterol, which they invented a bronchodilator for asthmatics called Clenbuterol, and then the bodybuilders in like the late 90s realized, oh shit, we could like super dose Clenbuterol, which is a bronchodilator for asthmatics, and it could serve as a cutting agent. And so when you see guys just physique massive ripped, come on, dude. It's not even a question, of course. Ask a UK guy about a guard. Yeah. Assad, aren't you a UK guy? Assad, aren't you a UK guy? Agarco goes to... You think... All right, the Brits. The Brits who are in the stream, because I'm pretty sure Assad R is a Brit. Do you guys see... How do you guys see the Ishmael Davis-Agarco fight going? Who wins the fight? Ties from... Okay, so the Brits, this is for you boys. Who wins Agarco versus Davis? How do you see it going, and how does it end? Because this is what the stream's for. Same time as Tyson, my man, Ty. Tommy says, yeah, a draw could be something for Vargas and Callum. You think so? You think? I don't see Vargas having enough ring generalship to win more rounds than Callum. We did see Callum get... who dropped Callum? Villarreal. We've seen... Callum's not a perfect fighter. Callum got dropped, I think, 2 to 3 times against Villarreal. Walsh, Bocek, Lester, Bud for the dub. Ron in the house. Big Ron. The Rons. Storm is coming, brother. The Storm. I like that movie. Good movie. I see it. All right, guys. I have to cut this off. I have to get something to eat. I'm coming back for the fights in 2 hours. I'll set a link for it. Also, tomorrow, TJ from Chilltown Boxing is coming on my channel to give you his picks. This guy's a pro bettor. All he does is bet. You guys will know him if you know the channel. I'll put a link up in the Discord, and I'll put a link up for that and remind you guys for tomorrow. I'll see you boys in 2 hours. Let's get this. You guys are great. Thank you to everybody.